First of all, there's another Mazzali. I'm not alone. The other thing is that it's only 2 speakers. All the other panels had 3 speakers. So depending on how our timing is, I may jump in the end and maybe also share a few thoughts here and there if there's a requirement for it. Now this is kind of a continuation of what we had yesterday. Yesterday we talked about data mining, data analytics in the first session yesterday. This is a continuation where we look at a subset of it. So we're looking specifically at consumer data, how you can collect and use your consumer data to make marketing decisions basically and get your content out. So the first speaker is going to be Norit. Is it Adrian? Adrian?
I think so.
Okay. So the first speaker is going to be Adrian. Adrian has a telco background. You can introduce yourself a little bit. So Adrian has a telco background and has very much experience, as you will hear, in using data to make marketing decisions based on that. So without further ado, I'll let Adrian do his show and tell. And if you have any questions for Adrian, please write them down. We do it the original way. So we do the talks first. Then we have a bit of a session, and later on we'll open it up to you if you have any questions for either of the speakers. So please write it down. We have enough time later on for you to really get everything out of it. Okay. Adrian, please. Oh.
I think the PPT is
I think
mine.
So that's what I thought. So forget about that. My name is Frank. No. So the first one is Norit now, speaking on unleashing the value of consumer data. Same thing, if you have any questions for Norit later, write it down now, and later on you are more than welcome to ask those questions to those 2 specialists.
Thank you, Dr. Frank. So how are you all?
Good.
Great. So first I would like to thank MSMW for arranging such a nice event. Personally, I feel like it's an amazing arrangement by them, and I feel really great, and I hope you guys are having the same feeling. So before I jump into my session, I would like to introduce myself. So you know my name already, right? Dr. Frank already revealed it. So I'm Norit Amin, and I'm currently working with IQI Global as the digital marketing head, and I'm also a digital marketing trainer, and I'm also a public speaker as well. So today we're going to talk about the consumer data, how we can use it to improve our social media and digital marketing activities. So I'm going to start it with an fact or with the data. So let's take a look on it. So you see 89% small business owner using Facebook to promote their business. No secret on it. I think we know about it and we can make a guess. But the fact which is really interesting, that 62% of them cannot reach the right target market. That means whenever they're running the Facebook ads or social media ads, it's not reaching to the right people. Why? What could be the reason? The reason is probably they don't have enough consumer data, or even if they have, probably they are not using it in a proper way. So why I say like probably they have and they are not using it in a proper way? Because I got the opportunity to talk with my few friends and few digital marketeers from different part of the world. So the funny thing is, I mean, a lot of marketeers, when they're running their Facebook ads, they're selecting the demographic, they're selecting the interest of the audience based on what they think. So do you think it's a good move? Do you think it's a good move? No, right? Because whenever you're running an ads, you should know who are your customer, what they're doing, where they're hanging out, what is their behavior. So if you don't know it, you cannot make a right target, right? So Facebook have an option called Facebook Audience Insight. I'm pretty sure those who are working in digital marketing and social media ads, you guys are familiar about it. I don't know about you, but for me, every time I want to run an ad, especially in Facebook or Instagram, I go through the Audience Insight. Especially, it's like a new kind of ad for me. But yeah, if you're running the ads for like long period of time, 2 years, 3 years, then probably you might avoid seeing the Audience Insight sometime, because you already get used to with it, and you already have roughly an idea like what your audience behavior is. But for the starter, or if you're starting a new campaign, then you definitely should have an idea about your consumer and their behavior. So what is consumer data? So the consumer data is the information of your customer. So it can be the personal information, it can be the demographic information, it can be the lifestyle information. So it's like you need to know on the weekend where they're going. Are they watching Avengers or they're watching Bollywood movies? If they're watching Bollywood movies, your targeting should be different. If they're watching Avengers, you should create a different content for them, right? So this information all are familiar as consumer data. So how you can get those consumer data? Okay, sorry, before that I would like to say why consumer data is important for social media marketing. So consumer data is the most important thing for any marketing. You talk about digital marketing or you talk about the traditional marketing, because if you have the consumer data, if you have the proper data, then it's really easier for you to make a strategy. And I think strategy is the key to make your marketing plan successful, right? So if you have the consumer data, you know what are going to plan, what are going to, what are the activities you're going to do in next 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. And if your plan A is not working, you probably make a sketch like what would be your plan B. So not only strategy, if you take a look on the advertisement, again I'm giving you the example of like Facebook advertisement. You know, we are creating the ad sets. Under one campaign, we are creating multiple ad sets, right? So why we are creating multiple ad sets? So for me, when I'm running the Facebook ads, I create multiple ad sets because it helps me to get data. So say I would like to target the age between 20 to 40. I would consider to create like 5 ad sets. 20 to 25 one, 25 to 31, 30 to 35 one, 35 to 41. Because the taste of mine and the taste of 40 years old guy is not different. If me and my dad are having the same taste, liking the same red t-shirt, trust me, there's something wrong with me or my dad, right? So this is the reason you need to create the multiple ad set. And sometimes I create different ad set to see like the women are getting engaged or the male are getting engaged with my ads. The leads are coming from Milaka or from KL. If it's KL, is it coming from Bangsar or like it's coming from Cheras? So when you're running your ads, if you can create multiple ad sets, it can give you a really, great idea. You get to know what to do and what not to do. By the way, if you're using the Social Baker or if you're using the AdSpress or some tools, then you might do it through them. But personally, I prefer to run multiple ad sets. Then it's under your control. You can play more with it and you know what to do and what not to do. So not only from the strategy prospect to running the ads to make performance better of your social media ads, you need the data. And who knows about the custom audience in Facebook and look-alike? Only 3-4. So those who know about custom audience and look-alike, you know like why we created, right? The custom audience we create, probably last 1 year we made sales to like 5,000 people. And they were my customer. I know like these people keep buying from me. So what happened when you are using an iPhone, probably your surrounded people are also using an iPhone, having the same kind of behavior or using the premium mobile, right? So this is where the custom audience comes. So I want to optimize my ad. So I have the data of like 5,000 audience. So I want to upload it into the Facebook. So it will create as a custom audience and then I will create the look-alike. That means the people who are buying, these 10,000 people are buying, but then Facebook will find another like 50,000 people or 70,000 people who also have the same kind of behavior. They are also buying the same kind of stuff from different company, or they are getting engaged with the same kind of content from different page. So this is where again the consumer data is playing a vital role. So I always prefer to use my consumer data when I'm running the digital ads, and you can use it on the Google AdWords as well. So if you're running the search ad or YouTube ad, they also have the same option to use the consumer data and create lookalike. But the terms is different, and I forget what was the term, but definitely you'll find that over there. So yeah, we talk about the consumer data, but how can you collect it? I can remember like a few years back, people used to do an event and then they're asking for the email and phone number, and some people was writing the wrong email, writing the wrong phone number, right? You guys did it as well, I'm pretty sure, right? But nowadays the things actually getting easier for us. We can collect consumer data in a different way. So let's take a look, how can we get it? Through the website analytics. If you have a website, you can see like who are your consumer, what is their interest, and what is the age range they're getting, who are getting engaged. And which pages they are actually following. Are they loving blog, or they're loving something else? Or if they're loving blog, what kind of blogs they're liking? And then you can check it through Google Analytics. If you're running the AdWords or like YouTube campaign, then Google Analytics is another option. You can probably check to see the detail of your consumers. And then social media analytics. When I say social media analytics, Facebook has its own analytics called Facebook Analytics. By the way, Facebook got two options: Facebook Analytics, and another one is Page Insight. So both are like very important. The page analytics is like showing the activities of your page, and the Facebook analytics is giving you like more information, like when your customer getting engaged with you, for how long they're getting engaged, which day they're getting engaged with your content most, this and that. Okay, so you need to use both the Facebook Page Insight and the Facebook Analytics as well. And the last one is digital ads. I think digital ads is now like very popular for like every business, right? And those who are running social media ads, you know there's a ad called like the lead generation ads by Facebook. So if you're running the lead generation ad in Facebook, and if people click on it and if they sign up, you're able to get their phone number and email ID at least. And you can also add to know the location, and if you want to add some custom question, you can do that as well. So lead generation is one of the most popular way to collect the information from consumer, so you can find out who are interested about your business. And there are a few other ads are available, like messaging ad is getting more popular nowadays. So what happens when people send you a message, you have the opportunity to get engaged with your customer. You can chat, talk, and you really can verify that your leads is quality lead or not, because there is a heavy issue we are facing. We're generating a lot of leads from social media, but most of the leads are not quality leads, right? So it's a common problem. Don't worry, it's not only your issue. We all are having the same problem. So that's why nowadays I try the traffic advertisement. So people click on the advertisement, I bring them to a landing page, and where they need to fill up the form manually, because in Facebook lead generation it filled up automatically. So when it filled up automatically, sometimes people say, oh, like I didn't sign up. I don't know how I get sign up. So you need to explain like how you find his number, and sometimes they get offended. So yeah, so you can try the traffic ads as well. So this digital ad is also a way to collect the consumer data. So not only digital ads, the content we are creating in Facebook and for our website, it's also not getting enough engagement sometimes, right? Sometimes we create a video, we see it and we fall for it. Wow, what a creation. What an amazing job we did. But when you post it into the social media, probably no one is getting engaged with your content, right? So what's wrong with it? The wrong is like the information you have, probably your consumer is getting engaged with a different kind of content. Probably they want to see, I don't know, they want to see Game of Thrones. And probably you're talking about something else. You're talking about probably money heist, and they just hate money heist, right? So so you need to find out like what kind of content they're liking, and you need to create your content based on their feedback, not like what you like. I mean, we like a lot of stuff, but yeah, a consumer can be different. So yeah, sometimes we feel like they're lame, but actually they're not. So let's see some interesting facts and data. 2 seconds is all companies get when it comes to the website load time. Anything longer increase bounce rates by 50%. So what does that mean? If you're checking any company's website, if it's taking more than 2 seconds to load, probably you're leaving their website behind, right? I don't know about you guys, probably you guys can be more nicer, but for me, if it's taking more than 3 seconds, I don't check that website. And the funny thing is, even if they try to reach me as I clicked them before, and like it takes like endless time to load, so sometimes they retarget me with the ads, and 95% of the time I try to avoid them. Because nowadays you got a lot of alternatives. Lazada is messing with you, you can go to Zalora, you can go to Shopee. So yeah, I mean, for me, if I have the bad experience with any of the website, I prefer to leave it. So this is a very important data for you guys, I think. So if your website is taking 5 seconds to load, take a note, right? The second one, in Malaysia, the Instagram is getting more popular than Facebook. Am I right? Am I right? Yes, why? I got the interesting feedback. I was talking with my cousins and few friends. They're like pretty young. They're all age between like 20 to 26. So I asked like, what was the reason behind like, you have a amazing Facebook profile, you got nice pictures, you got like 5,000, 4,000 friends. Why you're leaving Facebook behind? Why you're Instagram? So I said, like the next door uncle create a new Facebook page and he sent me the request and I cannot deny it. And my mom started using Facebook and he is monitoring what I'm doing, which club I'm going, and how I'm having fun with my friends. So she is restricting me for a lot of things. So this is the reason I switched to Instagram, because my mom is still not familiar with Instagram. She doesn't know how to use it. So I think it will take another 1 year to learn. Within that time, probably I will move to Snapchat. So this is a very interesting story. And the second reason in general, I feel Facebook become it's a cluttered place. Like it's loaded with a lot of things, news, sales. So sometimes you don't want to see those content 24/7, right? You need your own space. You need to see what your friends are doing, rather than you want to see like what Zalora is selling or what Lazada is selling. This is where actually Instagram is like less cluttered and more space for you to explore. So yeah, if you guys are not in Instagram and if your target market is between 20 to 30, and if you're selling something lifestyle or restaurant, take a note. Instagram is your place. So the last one, 91% of social media users use mobile devices to access their accounts. No wonder, right? So even if I logged in Facebook with my laptop, I don't use it from my laptop. So whenever I want to use, I actually use it with my phone. And most of the time when I use Facebook from my laptop, it's probably on the working hour. And on the working hour, definitely I will get engaged with any ads. So if I give you the data of like last 2 years, if I get 100 leads in a month, out of 100, 98.5% are coming from mobile. So why is it 98.5? Sometimes it's 98, sometimes it's 99. So it's like 1 to 2% people are only signing up from desktop. So for social media advertisement, I'm not talking about AdWords, by the way. AdWords is very active from your desktop as well. So probably from social media, from my experience, from my industry, I see like mobile is giving me the better conversion. And there's no secret. We all know like the attention is here. I mean, for me, after I wake up, I take a look into my mobile first before I take a look into my wife's face, right? I think you all are doing it. So this is the reality. So yeah, finally my suggestion to you all, build a data-driven company culture. It's a kind of a must for marketing and sales team to increase their conversion. For me, I'm trying to use the data more and more from last 8 to 9 months, and my ad performance is getting better. It was like 6 ringgit per lead last year, now it's like 4 ringgit. So if you see like 30 to 40% ad cost optimized in this year. So I think this all happened because I have the data for like last 1 hour. So yeah, I was playing with the dirt in last year, and now it's giving me the better results. So yeah, that's all from me. If you guys have any question, probably later on after Andy finishes session, you guys can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was an interesting session, as he pointed out. If you have any questions for him, I hope you have written something down. Feel free to ask them later. Now, I figured some of you might be wondering now why people who sit on the panel always look to their left. I don't know if you have realized that. We always look to the left. And the one reason is we don't want to stare at Norit's backside. That's going to be a bit creepy. The other thing is that on our left there is a monitor that duplicates the slides. Well, not this one, that one. So we don't have to sort of look around. On the other side, that monitor has a timer on it. Normally, the speakers are given 15 minutes, and the timer counts down from 15 minutes. Once we go to, I don't know, 2 minutes, and it becomes, goes from green to yellow, and then it goes down to red and starts, shut up, shut up, shut up kind of thing.
This is the secret, because I was walking like from here to here.
All right, so the next one is Adrian. You can introduce yourself if you like. In a moment. Adrian is from Australia. He's now localized as well. Works for his own company, and uses data collection or data mining from the telco industry. But maybe you can allude a bit further to this.
Thanks, Dr. Frank. So just to sort of reiterate that, I don't sort of own my own company. I work for a digital marketing agency called ADA. Analytics, data, advertising, in that order. We are born out of a telco, so our parent and our major shareholder is the Axiata Group. So for people who don't know the Axiata Group, they are the owners of Celcom here in Malaysia, and own various other telecommunications carriers around Southeast Asia, XL in Indonesia, Dialog in Sri Lanka, Robi and Airtel in Bangladesh, just to name a few. So what my talk here is today is to discuss the value of consumer data and how valuable it really is to businesses and brands and marketeers of today. My background as an ex-CMO in telecommunications, QSR, even to the point of marketing John Deere tractors in my previous life, is that I never really used data or consumer data for that fact to make marketing decisions. It was throw a TV ad up, throw a radio commercial on, put a billboard up, cross your fingers and hope for the best. Times changed, and we have to move with it as marketeers. We have to move forward. If we don't, we become redundant. Or if we don't, the young generation, my niece and nephew, are going to take our jobs in about 10 to 15 years because they can work an iPad faster and better than I can currently today. So I just want to sort of touch on just ADA and just set the tone in terms of what we do. And then I'll sort of jump into the utilisation of consumer data. So at ADA, we are claiming and we're disrupting the market as the agency of the future. We are integrated planning and delivery through media planning, digital creatives, ad operation and growth hacking. We have deep media integration with Facebook, Google, telco and AVOD players, as well as we have merged analytics with data consulting, data enrichment and audience centre. Now, that's a big claim to stand up here and say we are an agency of the future, but we actually do back it up. So this just gives you a very sort of high-level stack of what our agency does offer. So we offer a data layer through telco data, ad exchange data, Google data, Facebook data, video data, as well as Chinese media data. Layer that with business insights, audience segments, actionable insights, intelligent solution, video engagement, as well as branded insights. Layer then on with an omni-channel engagement layer through telco channels, through social, through display, through search, through video, through Chinese media, and obviously out of home. Then with an automation layer, then icing on the top is a service layer. So data consolidation, media planning, creative design, ad operations, outcome optimization, just to name a few. So big claim to make, but we're actually backing it up into the market today with these many layers. All right, enough on the sell of ADA. So this is a very, very powerful statement to make. Very, very powerful statement to take away. Those who own data own the future. And some very, very alarming statistics. 99% of global business decision makers believe data is critical to achieve success, but 62% are unable to turn data into insights or action. Very, very alarming. 68% of global senior business decision makers are still struggling to bring their data, creative and technology together, meaning they're sitting in silos. In this day and age, sitting in a silo between your media, your creative and your data is very detrimental to your business and your business outcomes. They have to come together as one. They have to come together as one unit to pull through to achieve your strategic business outcome. And only 10% of APAC marketeers say they can confidently integrate data and extract meaningful insights and measurement and provide ROI. And providing ROI is also a very, very big headache. That's huge. So out of all of this room, if we're all marketeers in this room, which we are, 90% of us have no idea about data, have no idea how to use it, have no idea how to pull strong return on investment. Pretty scary. 2019, and only 10% of us in this room currently today know how to use data. So let's jump into it. Knowledge is power. Simple. That's an old terminology we've known forever in the day. The more we know, the more we can do from it. So where does our data come from in terms of where our data comes from ADA? So we've invested as an agency into a DMP, so a data management platform. Out of that data management platform, there sits an absolute huge repository of data made up of different points. Telco data, telecommunications data, website and app data, ad exchange data, and curated second-party data segments that we basically bought and syndicated ourselves. But to run that, we've employed 55 to 75 data science experts, as well as engineers. So it's all great to have this data sitting in a DMP and sitting there and sort of beating your chest about what we have, beating our chest that we have, 280 unique devices, 280 million unique devices monthly. That gives us 200 raw and derived attributes. Fantastic. But without our data science and our engineers, this data means pointless for marketeers like myself. Because what they actually do for us is they actually give us syndicated segments. They give us segments to be able to create personas. From those personas, we're able to create actionable insights and we're able to create meaningful marketing campaigns for our clients. Now here's just a bit of a dipstick on some of the syndicated segments that we can look at. So the telco and the device, carrier targeting. So a lot of businesses want to go for specific carrier people or specific carrier subscribers. Cellcom might be running something, Digi might be running something, Maxis might be running something, Umobile might be running something. A lot of OTT players find this kind of data very, very important, as they may already have a subscription tie-up with a particular carrier. Geo-targeting, some other geo-targeting data. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky and a little bit scientific. So it's not that we know your exact location. It's not that we are following you or spying on you. It all comes down to the handset and the IDFA. It all comes down to the handset. It's not you, it's not your email, it's not your MSDN, it's not your home address. It is where that handset has been seen at a propensity modeling phase. So if that handset's been seen in a certain area for more than 10 to 12, 14 hours, 7 days a week, we can assume that place of interest is your home location, especially if it's there at certain times early morning. Then, if it's been seen at another location for around 10 to 8 hours, depending on how hard you work, we can then build propensity modeling to say that this is your place of work. So this is called POI data, places of interest data. So we've mapped certain places of interest around Malaysia, but then also to around Southeast Asia. So, what to do? Fantastic. You've got this data. Awesome. Fantastic. Great. What to do with it, right? Now this is where it becomes extremely critical that you know what to do with this data. Deep audience segments. Now Nora touched on audience insights through Facebook. Go deeper. If you've got a DMP or you've got access to a DMP or you've got an access to a repository of data, you can go extremely deep on this particular individual. Demographics. Well, we all started at demographical-based marketing, didn't we? First question we used to ask a client, or first question if a client or an agency used to ask us, what's your demographic? We've moved past demographic. We've moved past sociographic. We're moving into persona-built behavior. And if anyone doesn't understand what a persona is a type of user. A persona could be a type of target audience that you want to go after. And I'll touch on that as we go through the presentation a little bit deeper. But here's just some very high-level audience segments that we look at. Demographic information, lifestyle information. It could be foodies, it could be gadget freaks, it could be restaurant or fast food frequenters, it could be fashionistas. What are they doing? What are they engaging in? Right? And then it also could be a financial savvy, millennial, bank name that they bank with, investment apps that they got on their phone, banking products, certain array of information and all that sort of stuff that is all PDPA compliant, we're able to access and then put into actual marketing insights and actions. So let's just have a quick look at a sample client brief. Now we've all seen these before and this is probably not too far from the truth. This is essentially all the information we get as marketeers. Business vertical, let's take digital financial services. Campaign objective, 4 lines. Deliverables, 3 lines. Demographic, male, female, 18 to 50, digital active. Campaign start date, yesterday. So this is not too far from probably what we receive at an agency. Well, this is probably not too far as marketeers, if you represent a brand today, that we get from the product team. But then what to do with this? So how can you use consumer data to drive these particular campaign objectives, meeting these particular deliverables? So what I like to do is I like to call this my 3 Ps, is using right people, right data, right time, which leads to persona, philosophy, personalization. As I said, my 3 Ps. These are 3 simple rules that I follow when I take on any project or any campaign or I go to any business for the first time that I've never really done work with. I take this approach with me every single where that I go. So what this looks like, right people, persona. So how can you create the right persona using consumer data? So let's take a family of 3 very diverse, different people. Let's take a frequent flyer, an upscale shopaholic, and a serious gamer, right? Right data. So this is where the philosophy comes into it. So let's take the frequent flyer, a 50-year-old male husband. So what kind of syndicated segments can we pull to create a frequent flyer? High data usage, roaming usage, air travel frequency mapped by places of interest data, i.e. KLIA, KLIA2, seen on a frequent basis at short intervals. Mandarin Hotel, potentially in Jakarta. And visits Lattice Cafe, potentially in Jakarta as well. All places of interest, all places of where, as I said, we can do propensity modelling to say this particular individual is a frequent flyer. The next one, upscale shopaholic. Let's call her mum. 45 years old female, potentially the wife. Being seen at the Pavilion shopping mall. Constantly changes her handset as the new handsets come out. Why? Because we can see the operating system in the handset that particular individual has been using. And then the serious gamer. So 19-year-old male son, once again, high data usage. Hours of playing game time, late. Being seen at Starbucks on a frequent basis and visits Mummick stores close to his home. So a family of 3, not forgetting we're still marketing digital financial services here, but 3 very different, diverse people, but still the same product offering. Still we're either trying to activate accounts online, still we're trying to sell platinum credit cards, but still 3 very different, unique individuals built by consumer data, persona driven. Okay? So, once again, fantastic, great. Then what? So you've got all this information, you've created these, let's call these personas, or you've created these idealistic people. This is where right time comes into it. So if you look at Dad, you look at the frequent flyer, he's up at 7 a.m. He's browsing hotel apps on Agoda, Via remarketing Facebook ads, you can potentially send him a promo to basically say 2 air miles when you book the Mandarin Hotel through Agoda for platinum credit card holders. 7:45, he books a Mandarin Hotel through Agoda, completes a transaction with Agoda Pay. Now he needs a credit card to make that transaction payment, correct? So you're driving usage. 10 a.m, it's a quick flight. He checks into the Mandarin Hotel in Jakarta and then has lunch at a recommendation at Lattice Cafe where he saves 10% for all platinum credit card holders. Similar story with Mum. So Mum basically receives a promotion, free parking for platinum credit card holders via Facebook, via their FB page from Pavilion Mall. Receives a 10% discount on upgrading the new Samsung Note, sorry that's meant to be Note 10 or Note 9, because why? We know what handset that she's currently got. We know that the Samsung store's in the Pavilion Mall as well. So she gets free parking, designated parking, upgrades a Samsung Note 10. Whilst she's there, she receives an in-store promotion, or she sees that Aldo, the shoe shop, are having a promotion for all platinum credit card holders, particularly with this particular bank. Once again, driving usage. So lastly, if we have a look at the son. So once again, he's not on social media at 7 o'clock in the morning. He's probably even not on social media at 12 o'clock at lunchtime. He comes alive 9 p.m. 9 p.m. he's up, he's awake, he's alert. You have his attention at 9 p.m. Talk to him. But what's he doing? He's playing games online. So he's playing games online. Then what we can do, potentially, we can send him an SMS. Basically, we know through our integration, or we know because we have, I guess, the telco data, that we can send him an SMS to say your consumption has reached 90%. We can send you an offer right now to consume more data so you, sir, can keep playing your games online. Oh, by the way, if you're a certain credit card holder, we can give you even a little bit more extra value. He tops up, he continues to play. 1 a.m, he switches to Fortnite. He purchases V-Bucks through in-app purchasing. Once again, how do you do that? You need a credit card. Okay? 3:30 a.m, he's hungry. So we get on Food Panda and we order some dinner. So, right time is very imperative to how we use consumer data. So let's just have a really, really quick look, because my time's up. So let's have a really quick look at real world adoption here. So you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, this is all fantastic in hindsight. How do I apply this? And what steps, Adrian, would you go through if you had to apply this to any campaign objective or any business objective? So bear with me, very wordy, but I'll breeze through this really quickly. And if you want to know a little bit more information, please come up and have a chat to me after our panel's done. Firstly, I start with data mining. So I looked at our exact data through our DMP, and I looked through telco data. So I'll look through the data sets that you have on hand. Now you may not have telco data, well I guarantee you won't have telco data. You may not have a DMP, but you may have audience insights that Nora touched on. Secondly is persona building. So out of that, once you've harvested and mined that data, you start creating personas. So let's call a serious gamer as our P1 persona. Then from that, you look at audience validation, audience extraction, audience upload, and data-driven creatives. So we haven't even spoken about our creative ideation just yet, because we haven't validated our data, we've extracted our data, and then we've uploaded our data. Then we paint the picture of what creative that we want to go and position to this particular target. Omni-channel budgeting. So we look at a media plan, we look at attribution and tagging, and then we bring data, media, and content together as one. It no longer sits in a silo, it sits at one. Then, and only then, do we send that campaign live. Once a campaign's live, testing and optimization happens, ongoing testing, A/B testing creatives, A/B testing different audiences, A/B testing different tonalities within the creative, right? And ad optimization, which Nora touched on. Test, rinse, repeat. This is just not a one-off cycle that you need to go through. This has to be tested over and over again. You have to then rinse the good, the bad, the ugly, drop the bad, kill the ugly, scale, the good, which hopefully leads you to outcomes reached or your business outcomes. Very, very, very high level, guys, but these are 5 critical steps that I take myself through that I wanted to share with you today to give you a bit of an insight on how to use consumer data today. So just as I said, don't take anything away from today. If you take nothing away from today, please take away the 3 Ps: persona, philosophy, and personalization. Right people, right data, right time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. I could not agree more with the 3 Ps. I think persona building is one of the most important exercises that you have. Now, remember yesterday morning when we talked about the data analytics, I spoke a bit about having a focus for your business purposes, for your business objectives. That was on setting up a mindset in terms of setting up a campaign based on data that you have. The second part that I barely touched on was actually the persona building. So let me use, because I think it is really, really so important, let me use as a different example just to get you thinking about it. I work a lot with tertiary institutions, universities. And when it comes to choosing universities, let's say for a bachelor's program, who's going to make the first point of contact? Let's say I'm University A, or Frank's University, let's call it, I wish. And I have a bachelor's program in, let's say, digital marketing. So that is my product. Who do I need to reach to get that product out? So it can be the parents, or it can be the high school leavers. I'm going to ask you, who thinks it's going to be the parents? Who thinks it's going to be the high school leavers? Who wouldn't raise their hand no matter what I ask? Oh, that's actually hands coming up. So in reality, it's normally when I ask this, it's about a 50-50 split. So some people think that the parents make that first decision or the first contact and then recommend it to their kids. Other people think that the prospective students will make their own research and then talk to their parents about it. In the end of the day, it's going to be the parents who pay for it. But the first point of contact is either the high school leaver, so the kid, or is the parent. Now, the product that I'm trying to sell as a university is the same for both. So I have a bachelor's program in, let's say, digital marketing. Now, if I want to reach, for example, the high school leaver, the kid, with a message, and I would write a 2,000-word article on how great that university is, it most likely will not reach that kid. Now, the kid, when it looks for a university, and I know it's from own experience, my daughter's Liana, she's 19, so we went through this exercise. She would look out for a university not necessarily because of how credible that university is, how well known it is, and so on and on and so on. She would look out for, will I have fun at that university? Will I meet new people? Will I get a global view or something like that? It's more the fun and entertaining part. So that is, if I were to be a university, if I want to bring out a marketing message, then I would have to cater to this particular view. Now, with the same product, that's my bachelor's program, if I want to reach out to the parents, for me as a parent, if you as a university show me a marketing message of, oh, your daughter's gonna come here and she has gonna have so much fun, I will probably not go for that. So I, as a parent, I would be much more interested in, is that program accredited? Is she going to get a job afterwards? And so on and so on. So I have a different mindset when I choose essentially the same product. So as a university, you will have to cater for both. So one is going to be the fun part in order to attract the eyeballs of a potential student. For the parents, you will have to do a different kind of content to attract them for essentially the same product. So now, if I want to attract the students, I want to show up the fun part, I write a 2,000-word article of how much fun it's going to be at the university and present that to a 19-year-old teenager. Think she's going to read it? Anything that has more than 5 words, she'll ask me, you have a video for that? So that marketing message as to how much fun it is would then have to be packaged in a way that she will consume it. So that would then be, for example, video content or imagery or something like that. It is easy for you to easy for her to consume and will display the fun part. Okay. On the other side, for a parent, if you try to attract me, and I'm more interested in what I mentioned earlier, is the program accredited, is the campus safe, I don't want to get my daughter to get kidnapped or be in any other harm, is the program accredited, will she get a job, and so on and so on. So if you've shown me a fancy video with all those points, I may not consume it, because that's not something that speaks to me. So I would prefer to probably have something like a bullet point list, where you, as the university, list out all the questions or answers to the questions I may have. Remember, the product is still the same. It's just two different personas that I'm trying to reach, so I have to have two different sets of content to reach those specific personas. So now you have, let's say, a video that shows how fun it is for the high school leavers. If you put that video onto LinkedIn, she's not going to see it. So if you have even the perfect content, you have to show it at a platform where they are able to consume it. So Instagram might be a good one, or Snapchat. On the other hand, if you give me my bullet point list that addresses all the points that I was looking for, and you put it on Snapchat, I guarantee you, I'm not going to see it. Yeah. So I'm more active on LinkedIn, so you have to look where your personas hang out to show your content so they can consume it there. That's where the persona building comes in, and I think that's what Adrian meant with the 3 Ps. So you have to really identify who's going to be your first point of contact. Not necessarily, and I mentioned this yesterday when it comes to focus, not necessarily the person who buys it, but your first point of contact. So the first point of contact could be the student. The student will not pay for herself, the parents will, but she will be the first point of contact, and once she is convinced that this program is good for her, she will talk to the parents, and the parents will pay for it. Yeah, so you have to be clear with your first point of contact who that persona is. You generate content specifically for that persona, and you show it to that persona at the right platform, and as Ellen pointed out, at the right time as well. That's why persona creation is so important. And you can do this simply by mining the data that you already have. So if you are a university or any other business, but let's stick with the university example, you already have student data. You know how old they are, you know what they're interested in, you know what their parents are, and so on and so on. So you just simply go through those data, you pick out what they all have in common. So if you have 1,000 students or 10,000, it's more like 10,000 students, then you simply look what have most of these students in common. Now most of them are on Instagram, very few are on LinkedIn. So then you know, okay, the platform that I should present my content would be on Instagram, and so on and so on. So the data that you already have are fairly easy to mine, and then you can utilize those for your persona building, your content creation, and how to disseminate your content to them. Right then, we have not much more time actually, but officially our time is gone, but I would like to open still for a few questions. So if you have some questions to our panelists, now would be a good time. Nobody? You're either all blown away, or you all know this stuff already, or you're hungry. If I don't get at least 2 questions, nobody goes for lunch. I don't see any. So there are 4. You go. There are 4 lights that come up. So can I get at least 2 questions? 1. All right. Very good. Yes, sir. Can I get a mic there? That's in the middle, please. And then I know for sure Roberto has a burning question as well. Can I get a mic there in the middle, please? The gentleman with a striped shirt. I already have a mic. Oh.
Didn't want to miss out on the lunch. Thank you for the fantastic presentation. Hi, this is Dash. I'm a digital marketer, run a boutique agency, and fantastic presentation on this model of ADA. What I wanted to understand was the entire 3 Ps approach, which you talked about. From the data that you guys have, is it specific just for the industry that you've been dealing in, which is the telecommunication space, or you have your own data sets built in, basis which you apply the entire approach?
Yeah, good question. So, with our DMP that we currently have at the moment, it's not skewed to any one industry, and it's also not skewed to I guess, the telco industry as well. The beauty about what we've done is that we've invested in data scientists. So they write code, they write algorithms. So we may have some industry verticals that we want to focus in on, say digital services, digital banking services, telecommunications, automotive, FMCG. So what they'll basically be able to do is take those lifestyle, shopping behaviours, POI, places of interest as well, and then bring them together to create, I guess, meaningful, actionable insights and data sets for that particular industry of what we're wanting to go after. With consumer data, there's no real, I guess, industry for it, or a particular industry that utilises it the best. I think right now it's probably dependent on the client or the brand. If I look at right now and I think about who's using consumer data extremely well and who's doing a good job, is obviously the first port of call is your e-commerce and your e-shoppers. But very fastly approaching is banking. And why I say that is that digital transformation that Dr. Frank specialises in is happening right now. There's banks, not here in Malaysia, but there are also banks in Indonesia, banks here in Philippines, Korea, that are now letting you open an account up without even going to a branch. That's just crazy. In 10 minutes, you could have an account open, funded, and off you go, without even going to a branch. That's where the power of consumer data really comes into it. So whatever way you want to skew that data, you can. Having a DMP obviously does help. Having a team of data scientists and engineers clearly does help to write you out those codes and algorithms. But if you don't have that at your disposal, it just comes back down to the marketeer. Think about who you want to target. Think about certain characteristics of that person that you want to target. Think about what their lifestyle could be. Do a dipstick survey if you have to on your particular consumer base. Bring those clusters together and go after it.
Thanks a lot. I have some points, but I think I'll take that offline. Don't want to stay till the lunch.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on this a little bit. So let's say you have your, that goes for both of you actually. If you have your personas identified, quite rigidly identified, so you're pretty sure what their characteristics are and so on, then you will create a campaign to target those based on, let's say, time of day, as you mentioned, based on creatives and so on. How sure can you be that this will actually work? And what do you put in place to make sure you don't lose out on any of your initiatives, your marketing initiatives?
Yeah, good point. I think I would say,
I would like to add something like, so say for a small business, or if you're running the ads in digital platform for you're new, then I can feel your situation, because when I start at IKEA, we start from zero, we start from very scratch levels. We had no data. So what we did a lot of test and trial, because if you have some DMP solution, or if you have the data engineer, then that would be great. But if you don't have, and if you're a small business, then the best way to run plenty of ads, multiple ad sets with different interests, and then you see which one is working for you and which one is not working for you. For me, I always believe digital marketing doesn't have any standard. We cannot say this is the only way we should follow. It's all about test and trial. And the more test and trial you will do, you will get much better idea about your audience, what actually we have seen in the last presentation. If you go through a lot of test and trial, then probably you'll get an idea who is your consumer and what is their behavior.
Yeah, I think just also to add on that, and to your point, Dr. Frank, you can never be, nothing's guaranteed. I think that, as much as we want to wave a magic wand, you can't guarantee anything. But what you can do is you can decrease the risk, and I think that's what consumer data does. Also, too, digital marketing is going so quick. We look at the digital marketing channels currently at our disposal now, and you'd have to say Facebook and Google are probably 80% of the channels that we use currently now. But there's another one fastly approaching, which is called programmatic, and that will allow, as you've seen the digital omni-channel plan that I did, that'll allow you to be able to access literally at a click apps like Agoda, apps like TripAdvisor, potentially Spotify, Expedia. You know, if you're going after a certain sort of persona, let's say a money manager, to get onto apps that are stockbroking apps, that are currency converting apps, this kind of data-driven approach will definitely help you more than hinder you. But once again, you've got to be patient. You've got to be able to, I guess, ride through the storm, because whilst you are fishing where the fish are, your sample size goes a lot smaller. You know, we've been all sort of, I guess, educated around spray and play. So just put it out there and hope for the best. Now, once you go niche, obviously your sample size goes smaller. Potentially your CPM goes up, your CPR goes up, your CTR goes up, whatever you're optimizing towards. But ultimately your return should be there. So I guess it's riding out that storm. I guess it's making senior management or management aware of your tactic and your campaign, bringing out, you know, that it's not going to happen from day one, but it's definitely going to help tenfold if you get everything right.
So if I understand this right, so even if you have very good data, actionable data, it is still a trial and error period to some degree. But the data will help to make some educated guesses rather than the spray and pray, as you mentioned.
And also, I probably just want to last as well is that how good's your product? Now we all sit here and think that we've got the best product and we've got the most innovative product, but really how good is it? And is it really applicable to the certain persona or certain target audience you want to go after? Even more so if you're doing digital. How good is if you're doing end-to-end digital onboarding of a particular, let's call it a bank, is the user experience, is the consumer journey fruitful? As Nora touched on, does the speed times load fast? Is it 4 clicks over 10 clicks? How much information do I need? Is it mobilized? So you can have all the data. You can have the content creation driven by data. You can have the channel. But if your customer experience or your customer onboarding process or your customer journey is flawed, it won't work.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to add a real life example with it. So we wanted to run a campaign to hire the sales agent, and we were targeting the people who were 20 to 26 years old in Malaysia. So we find out that K-pop is really a big thing in Malaysia, especially for the age between 20 to 28. So what we did, we create a video. You guys know the song called BAM by Momoland. I didn't know about it. I knew after when we start doing the content. So we show them the whole office is dancing with the K-pop, with that song, and then we give them the message, would you like to be part of that fun culture? Come and join us. And the response was unbelievable. So if the regular cost per lead is like 6 ringgit, it became like 3 ringgit. And the video is really addictive. If I start seeing it, I can't stop. I mean, even after seeing 10 times. Because the Korean song is really it's very addictive. So you see, we understand what our people are looking for, and what Dr. Frank was mentioning. You need to know, to whom you're going to target. If you're targeting the youth, you need to give them what they are looking for. But if you're targeting the K-pop song with the parents, boom. It will be not BAM, it will be boom. Yeah.
You still have positions open for sales agents?
yeah, we do for the locals.
So, but you know, so if your contract doesn't work out,
we're out.
Okay. Any other question before I hand it back over to our lovely MC? Anything, Roberto? You have been active in every session. I feel kind of discriminated against if you don't say anything in my session.
No, so this was a question to Adrian, but Nora, you can also, and Frank, of course, so that I don't discriminate against you. One of the issues with programmatic, and I mean, of course, this can be worked through with trial and error, and you said there is a big part for trial and error in the whole process, but it's the question of, at least with when you're booking directly on a particular social platform, right? You've got the targeting, etc. You've got a good idea of where it's going to appear. One of the big issues with programmatic is there'll be many incidences of ads from a particular brand or company, etc., coming up in the weirdest places, right? Really inappropriate. Like, for example, I used to work at a university, IMU, and the other day I was happily swiping, I'll be happy to admit, I was happily swiping Tinder, and suddenly in between one profile and another...
I'm not judging you.
No, don't judge. But in between one profile and another, there's suddenly an ad, like a full screen ad for like, you know, become a doctor at IMU and stuff like that. And I'm like, really? Are we going to be thinking, it may be good because there could be a dad on there thinking about his daughter while he's swiping Tinder. But yeah, so how do you deal with that whole process of placement when it comes to programmatic?
Yeah, good question. And firstly, I'm not judging on Tinder because...
No, thanks, don't. Desperate times,
we've
go for
all
desperate
been
times.
there, and if we haven't, we're lying. So, you know, it's a great app. Of course, you're gonna run into those problems. Yeah, you can blacklist sites, and you can try to the nth degree. You know, similar circumstances happen at YouTube. You know, I'm sure you're familiar with the scary face that was popping out in kids' content. So the kiddies are sitting there and they're watching this content, and all of a sudden it's this face popping out telling them to harm themselves, which, you know, is not good. Look, I think that by nature you can try to restrict that as much as possible, but I also think if you're looking at that wide of a reach, there are sort of, you know, complications that do come with that. Having a good programmatic team or going to a good programmatic social agency that's probably done industry verticals, if you're going after that particular industry, would be good because they would be very familiar with what sites to blacklist, how to move in and out of particular sites and not to go on. But I think that at the end of the day, I think it is, you know, technology is improving every second. And I think we'll get to a point where, you know, you won't be able to see that. But I think for today, you just got to be mindful. And my suggestion, as I said, is to probably snuff out agencies or snuff out people that have had, you know, particular, you know, because there are very sensitive organisations out there that don't want to be seeing content anywhere. So right now, don't know if there's a ready-made solution. You can try to obviously filter them out as much as possible. But to your point about the doctor on Tinder, I don't know, I've swiped on many doctors on Tinder, so it's probably not a bad solution, and many nurses. So maybe they're doing something right there, I'm not sure.
Any last question? Okay, then, thank you very much for giving us your ear, and I hand it back over to our lovely MC.
Okay, can we give them a big round of applause, Dr. Frank, for moderating the whole session. We have Nawin Amin and also